Well, there's no greater place for college football season in the West than Eugene, Oregon at Autzen Stadium. It is opening day of Pac-12 football presented by Taco Bell, and the Ducks underway as they host the Aggies of UC Davis. And we welcome you on the Pac-12 Network. A pleasure to be alongside Yogi Roth this season. Cindy Brunson is also with us, and a lot of new about Oregon this year, Yogi. A lot of new on both sides. We'll talk about it over the next 3+ hours, but let's start with the quarterback.
Well, no doubt. I mean, this is where everything starts here for the Ducks. We saw it with Marcus Mariota. We saw it with Vernon Adams. Now, get to know your new transfer, your favorite player, Dakota Prukop, a gifted athlete. Came in here in the spring, won the job in training camp. To me, this young man is going to thrive in this system. His biggest challenge today is when he was in high school, when he was at Montana State, he put his team on his back. Now he's just got to be the point guard. They have weapons for days all over this field offensively. I'm excited to watch him operate.
You know, with great reason. There's so much buildup about Christian McCaffrey this year at Stanford. It almost feels like, how does Royce Freeman go under the radar?
Seriously, I mean, this is a guy, when you watch him on film, you just look at him and it screams National Football League. And you remind yourself, this is a team that's led the Pac-12 in rushing over the last 9 seasons. Royce Freeman is a huge reason why. Started as a true freshman, went off last year. You try to tackle him, you're bouncing off him. It's going to happen throughout this entire season. What I love about him is the little things. It's his pass protection, the way he catches the football, and most importantly, how he leads this team as he's a veteran right now for the Ducks.
Yeah, a pillar. Well, the Ducks take the field as Autzen Stadium fills. Colorful Autzen Stadium as the Ducks come out for their season opener, the first ever meeting between Oregon and UC Davis. But there's so much connection between these two football programs as we join Cindy Brunson on the sideline. Cindy?
You're right about that, Ted. The coaching connectivity is strong, and it starts with the Aggies head coach, Rob Gould. He played defensive back right here at Autzen in the late 80s, graduated 1988. Now, he's assisted by Bob Foster, who used to be a head coach for UC Davis, and when he was head coach, he had guys like Mike Bellotti play for him, and Nick Aliotti as well. In addition, current offensive line coach Neil Zubukas also played under head coach Bob Foster. The 54,000 strong is ready to rumble here at Autzen Stadium. I can feel them here on field level as the Ducks put a 4-game opening day win streak on the line. Let's do this, boys.
Second straight year with a 1-year quarterback at the helm. Much change. Really much needed change on defense that Oregon fans know well. We'll discuss that. And a different Pac-12 North this year. It isn't just Stanford and Oregon anymore.
We got depth in this conference. Ted, is going to be a wild season. It's already been a wild day one around the Pac-12. Week 1, college football is here as kickoff is finally come upon us, brother.
Just look at the shots we've seen so far in the crowd. What's the number everybody's wearing? 8.
It's a great
It just gives you an idea. Whatever we talk about, the Mariota legacy here is so strong, and that's why there's so much focus on Dakota Prukop today.
Well, the beauty of this offense, since Chip Kelly and obviously now with Mark Helfrich, it goes as the quarterback goes. You got to be a point guard. He'll get his opportunity.
All right, Matt Wogan will kick it off for the Ducks. Joshua Kelly and Jared Harrell are the deep men to return. This too deep for UC Davis. And Wogan will just blast one out the back to start things off. So UC Davis, which was a powerhouse in Division II football. They have a great football history that we'll discuss at length, but they transitioned into what used to be called 1AA in the mid-2000s. They now play in the Big Sky Conference. They still are not at the same level as Oregon. For example, today there are 63 scholarship players here for UC Davis as opposed to the 85 for Oregon.
Yeah, it's a different level, but just being around this program, we had a chance to go watch them in training camp. You see him yesterday. We talked to Ben Scott as we did earlier this week. They're excited. They're extremely loose. I look for this team to take some shots down the field. They think they can get involved in the passing game.
So Ben Scott, senior from Vacaville, California. Halfway between the Bay Area and Sacramento. A play-action drill. And right away, it's Henry Mondu, the one established returning starter on the Oregon front.
Well, if there's one thing that Brady Hoke, the new defensive coordinator, talked about was his new scheme. It's a 4-3 one-gap scheme. That means if you're on the defensive line, you are just coming. You're not waiting. You're not reading. Your job is to get in the backfield, and Henry Mondeau is the most experienced defensive lineman they have.
And immediately puts Davis into a bad down and distance. So Scott will hand it to Kelly, and he's wrapped up. Let's take a look at some difference makers from Nissan on the Oregon D.
Well, I'm going to be watching Arion Springs all afternoon long. This is a guy, last year he had highs and he had a lot of lows. It's going to be a lot of his technique. We're going to ISO him. Look at his footwork. He's extremely confident. He went back to work on the details, what Brady Hoke calls the laws of football. If this is your responsibility, you've got to handle that before you try to do too much, specifically at the corner position. So look for him to get tested.
Reagan on that previous play, so now it's a long third down for the Aggies of UC Davis. Scott sets up a screen. This is Luga, their top running back. He'll get some yardage back, but the Ducks stop him short of the line to gain and will force a 3 and out.
When you play Oregon, you cannot have unforced errors. That is the biggest thing. Whether you're UC Davis or whether you're Stanford or USC, doesn't matter who it is. So when you start off first down, you want to take a shot on the play action pass and get sacked, you're going to put yourself in the 3rd and long, which is what happened with them.
So there's the new defensive coordinator, Brady Hoke. Outstanding head coach at San Diego State prior to his tenure at Michigan. Sat last year out. And, of course, the big change, as Oregon football fans know well, is to go to the 4-3. As Davis will punt the ball away. Colby Wadman punts it. Charles Nelson with a muff. And is that a recovery? Let's see. Waiting for the signal. And very happy Davis player popping up with the ball. Darryl Graham.
Yeah, simply dropped it by Charles Nelson. This is a guy who's extremely short-handed for the most part. You could argue he's their best football player. Last year a defensive player, this year primarily on offense. But we just talked unforced errors for UC Davis on their first play of the entire game. A huge one there for the Ducks is now UC Davis, they're in a part of the field where they feel really confident.
Most coaches will tell you the most devastating turnover in football is the muff punt or the fumbled punt return. Such a dramatic field position change. Scott's going to keep. All right, Scott under center. Manu Luga, top running back for UC Davis. They're 7 yards behind. They're running a fullback there, and boy, that play is just completely blown up by a freshman, Troy Dye.
Troy Dye, they love talking about this young man. He is an absolute freak of an athlete. At the bottom of your screen, he's simply going to fly off the edge, untouched, Ted, right in the back. He's going to make that play all day long, but we're going to talk about a true freshman from Norco High School in California. They've been producing talented football players for a long time.
Forcing UC Davis into 3rd and 8. Luga leaks out over the middle. Scott going to loop one down the field.
Check out Jalen Jenks on this. He's right here, right? He's going to take a step up the field, then all of a sudden he's going to drop back. That's going to force Ben Scott to pause for a moment. Oh, that's where he wanted to go. He buys a little time, resets, and finds a throw in that second window down the seam. That's gradual level play by Ben Scott.
Tyree Robinson didn't appear to take a very good angle on that at all. So here's UC Davis with 1st and goal. Play fake out of the eye. And Scott just launches. It's going to be very free if he can finish this drive and give his team an unexpected lead. 2 tight ends settle on the left. Oh, and a flinch there. All right, welcome to Watson Stadium in Eugene, where UC Davis has a chance to take an early lead. Ben Scott, their quarterback, being chased, but he's got the legs to make it to the end zone for UC Davis. Muffed the punt, and UC Davis has capitalized on the recovery.
Check this out, Ted. It's man-to-man right there. That means this corner is going to run. Arion Springs runs with the wide receiver. They're hoping to get the tight end delay on the backside. Not there.
And turn it into 6+1. Well, this game began with UC Davis getting the opening kickoff. Again, a sack by Henry Mondeau triggered a 3 and out, but the dangerous Charles Nelson muffs the punt. Darryl Graham recovers for UC Davis. And then the Aggies took it the final 33 yards. And when we talked to Kevin Daft this week, the offensive coordinator, one thing he said to us, Yogi, about Ben Scott, more mobile than people realize.
Well, you try to play man-to-man coverage because he's not a threat. Oregon does that. He makes you pay with his legs.
So Davis taking that turnover in, 33 yards for the score. This is going to be Nelson bringing it out. Trying to make some amends.
Well, we talked about Royce Freeman in the open. He's an absolute beast at the running back position, one of the top 3 in the country. But Pharaoh Brown, this is a young man who has not played in over a year. The gruesome injury at Utah 2 years ago. He's finally healthy, 100%. Doesn't even want to talk about his injury. So excited to watch this young man make the return. And it wasn't just a leg injury, Ted. Ashley Adamson did a feature on our network. He almost had his leg amputated. And now he's back on the field, and he's going to be a big part of this offense.
That was a terrific piece. And as you can understand, we get some movement right away. Pharaoh Brown, when he was introduced about 15 minutes before kickoff here, he received the biggest ovation from the crowd when his name was announced. Gives you an idea of what he means and how Oregon fans appreciate the 2-year process to get back from that.
Oh, it's phenomenal. And you know this as well as anybody. Injuries are not just physical. There's such a mental side to that of getting back onto the field. So now it's live for the first time, and there he is at the bottom of your screen.
All right, well, meanwhile, it's 1st and 15 for Dakota Prukop. So we'll hold off on Prukop till we hear the adjudication of this. There's the play.
Well, it's Pharaoh Brown at the top of the screen.
Personal foul, face mask. Defense number 8, pull the opponent's helmet off. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So here's Prukop's first throw intended for Brown, and there was boy, that's the instant. There comes a late 3 seconds after this.
Oh, 100% pass interference.
It was legal. Second down.
All right, no foul.
Wow.
The action was legal, and I'm not sure what action has been referenced.
Number 75 of the defense must leave the game for 1 down as a result of his helmet coming off.
But it's 2nd down and 15. Or 2nd and 10, rather. And Prukop on the keep, and a good open field stop there by Culberson.
He's been playing at the athletic positions for a long time.
Oh, he got hit as he threw the 3rd down ball up there, and that wobbled.
Well, keep in mind, up front for Oregon, they're starting 4 redshirt freshmen. That is not a typo. 4 redshirt freshmen. Tyrell Crosby not going today.
The story this year, while so much focus is on the quarterback, there's a lot of change in other places. That's a very poor punt 2 days before Labor Day, but man, does it feel like football here in Oregon. Just a sparkling Saturday afternoon. We're glad you're with us. Ted Robinson, Yogi Roth, and Cindy Brunson as that ball skips in from Ben Scott incomplete. All right, Cindy, Ron Gould, the coach there, played 1 year of football here at Oregon. Spent a long time as an assistant coach at Cal, most of it under Jeff Tedford's reign. So Ron Gould knows the situation here at Autzen. He understands what he's facing today very well. Now 3rd and 5. And Scott trying to touch throw and broken up nicely. Well defended by Arian Springs of Oregon.
Arian Springs, he's a guy that really went to work in his press coverage. That's perfect technique. Right at the play the ball, get your eyes back when you see the receiver's eyes back. And there were too many times last year when you watch him on film where he wouldn't look properly or he'd get beat a little bit. They went to work with defensive back coach John Neal on the little fundamentals. We talked in pregame, and he said, man, you never stop coaching him, never stop teaching him, but this guy took a big jump in that department.
So the Ducks defense does get a 3 and out here. Colby Wadman is the UC Davis punter. Charles Nelson. And there's a clean catch. Now the return. Nelson does well. He gets about 15 on that return, so that's a positive. Gets his team at least a first.
Well, welcome back. Ted Robinson, Cindy Brunson, I'm Yogi Roth. And when you look at Oregon's offense from last year, they're dynamic in a lot of areas. And keep in mind that pass yards, that was down because their quarterback, Vernon Adams, was banged up throughout the season. But overall, this is a team they want to score quickly. They want to score often. Led the nation in touchdowns under 3 minutes. Second in the country last year with touchdowns under 2 minutes. When their tempo gets going, Ted, this is when the offense thrives. Only 4 offensive plays thus far this afternoon. They haven't gotten going anywhere.
All right, so Freeman gets his second touch with a flag coming down. You think about that, Yogi, as you said, their quarterback play last year was erratic because Adams only played about half the season.
Offense number 78. 10 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Yet they still put up those kind of numbers.
No, you're exactly right. I think the criticism, I understand it's big boy college football and Mark Helfrich and this staff, but if Vernon Adams was healthy a year ago, this is a team that may have run the table, and you watch what they did against USC and Stanford, but it's a different year now, and up front, they got to replace a lot of guys. Cameron Hunt, who the penalty was on, is the only returning player.
32nd start of his career. And a flip around to the Olympian. So Devin Allen, just a couple of weeks removed from Rio on the football field. That's great. And listen to the roar he gets. In Tracktown, USA, fittingly. Freeman goes outside, and he's stacked up. UC Davis playing this run defense well in the first quarter. And so the Ducks need 14 here on third down. Dakota Prukop in his first Division I top-level start, trying to get his first down here. And he does. Complete the pass, but not for the first down. The open field tackle by Graham. And Wheeler hits this one solidly. Good punt. That's very sharp, forces a fair kick. Actually, why do I get the sense the fans here are already stunned? And Oregon has had 2 possessions and haven't scored yet.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of stunned too. I mean,
offense.
The reality is, though, in football, you got to play well up front. An offensive line, they have struggled in their few possessions.
And we're going to get a timeout. Something not right there. UC Davis didn't feel right about that alignment. Doesn't matter, because UC Davis that night had 36 scholarship players. That's all they had. They were still transitioning out of Division II then. And you beat a Pac-10 team with 36 scholarship players? Yeah. It was a momentous win, and one that Joshua Kelly, the running back, Scott Buck, that one would have been a game, but it was
well, for UC Davis to pull off this upset, they got to make those easy plays, right? I mean, there's so much one-on-one coverage they're going to see all day long.
Luga, their top running back, is to the right of Scott. He'll stay in the block, and the slant's caught. Nice spin to the outside, and Davis does get a first down.
Chris Martin in the slot. You see him right there. He kind of just puts a body in front of a body. Officials are trying to not call that, or they're trying to call that this year. Stay away from those pick-type plays. Get a completion.
So UC Davis, new set of downs. Doss gets the ball on the outside. 6 yards on that first down. Again, Luga stayed in, and then Scott just throws one up to the sideline. You see that neither receiver nor defender knew where that ball was going.
The one thing the defensive coordinator Brady Hoke wanted is to make sure that his guys and the new scheme got upfield. They've been getting upfield all afternoon long. Ben Scott does not have a lot of time outside a 3-step passing game. He doesn't have any time back there, so he's got to get it out, which means I would expect to see the corners from Oregon playing more press-type coverage, trying to disrupt the time.
Scott's going to swing one out to Luga. A little wheel route up the near sideline, well executed.
Right here, man-to-man coverage. Receiver's going to run inside. It's going to allow the running back to wheel out. All of a sudden, you get a little pick, a little natural rub, wide open. That's a great conversion. That's a great play call when you know man coverage is going to happen.
You hit that right on. That was a very well executed.
Last year, but they still replaced a lot of guys. 6 guys on this defensive front 7 are new. Then you get Johnny Reagan playing that will linebacker position, Henry Mondu, but everybody else who's rotating in hasn't played a lot of football.
Of course, a guy that they thought could be impact, and there's a nice play by Dye again. The freshman's making an impact in this first.
In this conference, when you're playing at Oregon, you've got to be athletic. They're bringing this type of guy, a former safety, as you referenced, down inside the box. He's playing extremely instinctive because that's where UC Davis is attacking. They're attacking that overhang, outside linebacker type area.
Scott's pass incomplete. All right, third punt coming here for Wadman of UC Davis. This one a low ball. Nelson. Actually, that's off the side to the sideline.
Could have been happier for Sefo Lufau and the Buffs with that huge win last night in the rivalry game against Colorado State.
Prukop gets going. Fires it out. Look at the moves. Pharaoh Brown is back.
You know, we talked to Matt Lubeck, the offensive coordinator, yesterday. We talked about scripting plays, and he said, you know, I try to do a couple. Something I think would say, get it to 85 early on. This young man has been pining to get back. First play of the game, he's on a wham block. Then gets a big play there with the ball in his hands. Nothing better in college football than watching 85 catch and run right now and take a hit and bounce right back up.
2 years ago, he averaged almost 17 yards a reception as Brady Stevie, the injured Davis linebacker, coming off. There's a lateral throw to Nelson.
When they just got to execute right off the bat, they haven't done extremely well thus far.
Cobb keeping to the outside. And he did churn the corner just enough to gain. And on the keeper, he's got the first down. He was close.
He's great with his eyes. You watch him on tape. He sells it. His eyes are on the defensive line, and they hesitate for a moment. That happens. All of a sudden, the sea parts, and he's going to take it every time. And this is where he's different than Vernon Adams. He's a different type of runner.
Prukop makes the defender miss and gets a yard, maybe 2, on 2nd and 7. Swing pass to Freeman. That's a pretty good stick there.
Vincent White, he's a dynamic athlete. You probably know his aunt, Brittany Russell, Olympic gold medalist.
Royce Freeman's a low. That's pretty good. Prukop's slant throw caught Carrington. And it'll be 1st and goal for Oregon.
Well, you just look at that series of plays right there, the run by him.
All right, the Ducks, they're in the final minute of the first quarter. Close to getting their first points of the season. Freeman. And Freeman will get there. There's the broken tackles that Yogi talked about in the open. Royce Freeman with the finish.
When we think about Royce Freeman for the strength and the power. How about the athleticism, the lateral speed? Are you kidding me? This is why he needs to be on national stages. They call that jump cutting, when you got to make quick cuts in a small area. And for a guy that big, I mean, he's not 5'11", 180. He's 230 plus pounds.
All right, so now the Ducks shift to go for 2, and Nelson takes it in. So Oregon throws a little change. And UC Davis, you saw the shift out of the PAT alignment.
Well, they do it all the time when you watch them on tape, is they just align and they want to see if they have a numbers advantage. It's as simple as that. And if you have a numbers advantage, you take it. But if it's even like it was there, you say, well, 6, he's kind of like +1 plus another one because he's so athletic. He uses his athleticism. He gets a great block from Pharaoh Brown, waltzes in for the Reese's 2-point play.
Clear the back of the end zone pretty.
You're breaking in a lot of new players. Yes, Royce Freeman is there. Yes, Darren Carrington is there. Yeah, we got Pharaoh Brown back, but 4 out of the 5 linemen are redshirt freshmen. Brand new starting quarterback. I mean, that is the heart of what this team is. They led the Pac-10 or 12 in rushing the last 10 years, man. I mean, that is who Oregon is.
So how much of a challenge will that be? Because even if Crosby comes back, they'll still have 3 first-time starters on that O-line. Can you lead the league? I mean, as good as Freeman is?
Well, the thing that they used to do, even back in the day when I was coaching at SC, we'll talk about it right after this snap.
Kelly here, and what will likely be the last play of the quarter.
But where they would thrive is that their offensive linemen, their job was to kind of play basketball, get between the ball carrier and the defender. So in their zone scheme, it's just running. You know, if you're athletic like these 3, 4 redshirt freshmen all up front in the interior of their offensive line.
They were recruited for that system.
Exactly right. With Steve Greatwood, one of the best offensive line coaches in the history of college football, I think they'll be fine. Will they be dominant? Will they be able to punch you in the mouth? We're going to find that out.
Oh, that's a Yogi Roth production meeting right there.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know it, baby.
Daily double for Yogi Roth and Eugene. Killer veggie burger and then a veggie voodoo donut, right? Right.
Hey,
afterwards.
that's how we do it.
That's what I thought. All right, here's UC Davis on 2nd and 10 to start the second quarter. Off play action. Scott with a good throw and a pickup to give him a much better 3rd down play. Scott's throw is broken up.
That is textbook defensive back play. His left arm doesn't touch the receiver at all. His right arm goes over the top, gets right in front of it.
Ooh, and look at that. That draws Oregon, and I believe UC Davis just got a first See, did they get a first down out of it? Or are they going to call that foul against UC Davis?
False start. Offense. Fading the snap. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Well, I'm assuming UC Davis practiced that.
Yeah, well,
and I'm assuming they're not understanding why that's a foul. Wadman and punt. Nelson will call for a fair catch and take that back near the 20-yard line.
All right, so to clarify the rule, you cannot bait the team into thinking you're going to punt and then pass. So the reason the penalty's called is because you see the upbacks for UC Davis, they become offensive linemen. If they were just wide receivers, which you see on the edge, you're fine there. But the minute you become on the offensive line, you're not an eligible receiver. That is when the baiting becomes the penalty. So
that was the announcement they made, baiting the snap.
Exactly.
Right?
So that's the right call. You can move your wideouts all day long, the guys on the edge, but you cannot do it in the interior.
Here's Kanai Benoit getting his first carry. That works.
They're loaded at that spot.
Of course, Oregon fans know it's unfortunate Thomas Tyner not able to continue his career. Imagine how deep they'd be if Thomas had been able to stay healthy.
They're an all-conference center 8 of the last 11 years in the Pac-12.
Oh, look at that gap for Benoit.
Just referenced Jake Hansen at center. So he put his hands on him. He just takes the defender where he wants to go, and all of a sudden we got a gap for days.
Well, that was a great call on Hansen there. That's Mike Adroka, who's Davis's top D lineman. Now Prukop takes it inside the 40. From the back, and he just got that ball secured. That one had the look of a strip.
Culberson untouched up the backside.
See that little tuck in there just at the right moment. Nelson motions. Freeman swings out, but the pass comes to the left to Nelson. It's most of that loss back. And Prukop's throw, sliding catch by Darren Carrington. First down at the 20.
Easy read. Single high. Man-to-man coverage on the slot. I'm going to 7 all day long. Prukop, a great job with his eyes holding the backside safety. Rips it in there.
Back to Carrington with Nelson on the block. Well, big roll because they lost Braylon Addison, so Carrington's going to... well, let's see it. They're going to call that a forward throw, so it's an incomplete pass.
Clearly, clearly a forward pass.
Keep
hampering it. And that snap, it was Charles Nelson.
All right, finally timeout.
Yeah, well, it's all about mastering specific situations. And for to go to Prukop, new system, new team, new everything, and that's where he's going to have to evolve within this team. He's played a ton of football, but it's those specific situations within a new offense with 4 new offensive linemen that have never played before.
Saw the numbers briefly there. Prukop has played against Davis before a couple of years ago at Montana State. One-sided game. Huge numbers for Prukop. But now he's going to have to throw that one away and force Oregon to make a call here on 4th and 4.
He got 4 linemen that have never played before in this system on the field.
That's a startling number. And as a result, Oregon will send out the field goal team. Aiden Schneider will try this one. It's about 32 yards. And he will boot that through to add to the Oregon lead. Another rite of passage that we return to this time of year. Meat on the grill. Look on every device you look on, there's a million scores going on, and Ashley's got all the highlights for us. All right, so here's Davis back to work now. Ben Scott, and was there a face mask there? It didn't appear to be. Now there is a flag that comes in. Now there is a face mask, yep. So Troy Dye got the face mask. I thought so. Interestingly, the referee must not have seen it because the flag came in from way on the side of the field.
And he's learning along the way. I mean, it's hard to believe that this young man is playing this position. And when I say that, he's not just an outside linebacker covering receivers, but today against UC Davis, you see him all over. Sometimes he's on the tight end, on the line of scrimmage. For a true freshman coming out of the gates in high school to line up against grown men at tackle and tight end, that's impressive. And then playing in coverage.
So UC Davis gets a first down, punching the ball out to the 40-yard line. And Scott, again, wisely there, uses his experience, just flips it away. And there's a flag.
Snap infraction. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
As you see where the Oregon defense statistically ranked in the conference. And you make a great point there, Yogi, and it's tied into ever since the pace of play here was accelerated. Oregon football, you're always going to have more plays in the game, both sides. You're going to run more plays, and your opponents are going to run more plays.
No doubt. And in practice, you don't necessarily always get that time to just go play fundamental defense. Talking to Brady Hoke yesterday, he said that in the spring and in training camp, Mark Helfrich gave him that necessary time to just line up and act like we're going up against the scheme that they're seeing today.
Well, there's a big play for the Oregon defensive front.
Well, they bring pressure. You'll see it at the top of your screen. Scott's got to get the ball out. Makes a blind screen throw, which is the one thing you're always taught as a quarterback not to do. Get that head around. See what the defense is. He waits an extra hair because he feels the pressure coming. Big play by that defensive line. Jalen Jelks.
Again, with familiar faces gone. DeForest Buckner gone as a first rounder. Sit on the carry here. To Rodney Freed, who of course was expected to be a big play defender. He's not
just behind the Ducks bench, where Brady Hoke just gave Jelks a big hug and a kiss. He wants this Ducks defense to be known for takeaways. So far, so good, guys.
Turnovers continually give you opportunity for explosive plays.
All right, Carrington, one-on-one. And good hang in there. That's a nice play again by the UC Davis.
I'll tell you what, he's going to. Matt Lubick also doubled as the wide receiver coach. That one's going to get pointed out tomorrow.
All right, second down. Oregon can get a first down at the 1. But they get 6. Strike throw to Johnny Munt.
Watch Prukop's eyes from the back. He's going to give a pump to his left, come right back, find his roommate, wide open, perfect placement. You wanted eyes or above when you're throwing to a tight end in the back of the end zone. That's exactly how Prukop delivers.
So once again, the Ducks in this shift. They've run one successful two-point play out of this. They're going to try it again, and Nelson's going to score it again.
It is game over. Get it to number 6. You got blockers, and you're the better athlete. Tug. Welcome back. Oregon up 19-7. Let's take a look at this two-point conversion, right? You're matched up 3-on-3. We've got Charles Nelson, UC Davis. You're already outflanked. It's simply a sprint to the end zone, and I'm sorry, but I'm going Charles Nelson every single time. And Tom Osborne, the special teams coordinator in his 16th season, says, yeah, we'll take that for the second time this afternoon.
So Kelly bring this ball out of the end zone for UC Davis, and look at the cover by Oregon.
Player in number 19, Fotu Leato. He's a really cool story, too. I mean, number 1, he's the most dominant player they got on special teams, but he was not known as a recruit 2 years ago. His highlight tape goes on Huddle, where all the recruits put their film, explodes. Hundreds and thousands of views because he's just dominating people like he's Troy Polamalu back in the day. He signs here. His only offer is a late get on signing day, and he's been a special teamer. He's actually worked his way into the 2 deep in the secondary, but on special teams, he's the guy on TV that you ISO on every kickoff.
All right, so Oregon has tilted this game their way after a sluggish start. And Davis trying to regain its footing, and they get a good first down run here. They've not run the ball very much. Samoa Luga goes by Manu. See, that run put them into positive yardage, and Luga will get them a first down.
Well, this is a team, they're making the proper steps. Finally get some returning players this year.
We'll correct that. Wait, he's actually 215. So I was going to say, that's a little light to be a running. 215 is more sensible.
Doing so much. He's going to be at the top of your screen. They call it a nose for the ball. Team just put his foot in the ground, let me get upfield, sniffs out the screen, evades the blocker, and away he goes.
Ooh. There's going to be a flag there. Let's see what that is. That was Ugo Amadi.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Number 85 of the offense. Penalty is declined. Third down.
And so these are the defensive keys that Brady Hoke got. He's got them on his board in his office. He said Bo Schembechler taught him them years ago. And one is attack the line of scrimmage. It makes sense with a new 4-3 scheme. 2, deliver a blow, slip a block. I mean, you've got to be physical if you want to win in the Pac-12 conference. 3, find the ball. When this team went to the national championship game, they created so many turnovers which allowed their offense to thrive off of it. They've got to find this year. And then, of course, defeat the block and get after the rock. 4 and 5.
Now on third down, Scott arcs one up. Jump ball, broken up, nicely done by Amani.
Secondary, they got torn apart, and they earned it last year. One of the worst pass defenses in the country. They want to get back onto the field. They're going up against wide receivers, and to me, regardless of the level of football you're at, whether you're a Power 5, if you're a School of 5, or whether you're an FCS team, to me, wideouts are wideouts. They can make plays, especially one-on-one coverage. You can go anywhere. You got to make plays when you're isolated. You've seen them make plays this afternoon?
Wideouts are wideouts?
Hey, I don't know if Walt Harris would.
Fair catch there by Nelson on the 40-yard up on this opening day of the college football season. A little swing run out there and good yardage for Tony Brooks James getting his first action.
Not even getting going.
False start. Left guard. 5-yard penalty.
This is priceless. This is priceless. Aliota, you should have burned these a long time ago.
Oh, I love
Come
it.
on.
Great hair. I think he definitely rivals Mike Yam for the best hair right now at the Pac-12 network. But
yeah.
He's a legend.
How much product is in that hair? That's part of a great heritage as Brooks James runs this and is clipped down inside the 45. National championship, Division II power. His offense was respected by so many people. And a flag going to be thrown here on the cover there by Isaiah Olave.
I didn't think the coverage was that bad, to be quite honest. Things happen.
Yep, no call.
Pretty impressive for a team coming off a 2-win season.
Trying to get up into the contention in the Big Sky. The transition has been a little tougher for UC Davis. Prukop spun and can't get away. Ooh, and that's a dangerous hit there at the end.
No, and it looked from up here that he tried to avoid him at the last minute. We'll see as he comes in.
Right there. That's. Take that one inside the 10 again. Well, since we're talking about this, and UC Davis does have great football tradition in the Division II area. Even, yes, a kicker in a long NFL career, Ralph Benershka, Bo Easton. These are names who played. But this is the big one. This is the guy, when Ken O'Brien was a first-round draft pick in 1983, that's when people went, what is UC Davis? Look at that quarterback.
Big win for them. And JT O'Sullivan had his opportunity in the National Football League. And you know, it's great when you prepare for these games and you dive into the history there, and you've been around it for a while. There's such respect for the coaching tree. I mean, Mike Bellotti, there's so many ties just here at Oregon from when he played there. He had a huge catch in the Miracle game there to get that big win for UC Davis back in the day.
And you saw that record, that the transition to the Big Sky, FCS, hasn't been quite that smooth. Jim Soker, though, just to finish, as we see the tackle here on Luga. Jim Soker, in his era, his offense was so well respected. Bill Walsh, now Bill was probably 90 miles away in the Bay Area coaching the 49ers, would so respected Jim Soker and his offense.
It's one of those things, coaching trees get referenced all the time, but anybody who's come out of his tree, they have such reverence given to them and their football acumen.
Scott throws one out. There's a good little run after the catch. That could be a first down run by Keelan Doss. They're trying to mix in a little more run. Justin Scott throws to the middle. Well, he had a first down there.
UC Davis is 4 straight third down conversion opportunities they've missed.
And the punt away. Nelson's going to have a chance to run with this one. Setting up some blocks. He's got some room. He's got a wall down the near side. We could see this coming. And there's Charles Nelson doing his damage. You could see that one from up top here.
And it looked easy. 45-yard return, sets up one block. Great job by the return team of not getting a penalty by a block in the back, just putting their hands up there, and he kind of does the rest.
That's when you start to, when the punt's long enough that the guy has to backpedal a bit, but he's dangerous. You know, that gives him a chance to see the field. He's going to have a little time.
Every time.
Yep. So Charles Nelson, what a swing here in the final minute and a half of the half. So let's see if he goes right back to work. Yes, he does. Nelson. So let's see, there's 1:11 they say on the clock. That's 17 plays for the Ducks, right? Come on.
Yeah. Well, this is where you got to showcase mastery if you do go to Pro Cup. This is full-on command, 2-minute drill. You're in the red zone. You're knocking on the door.
To Nelson in the middle. It'll be, I believe it'll be first and goal. Much better after the first 2 series for Dakota Prukop. Oops, there though misses Nelson. Well, pressure, and Davis will get to him.
Well, it's a twist up front, and really it's the right tackle, Calvin Throckmorton.
Look at Prukop. It's one of the stories in the conference this year. There are not many returning quarterbacks. Browning is one of them. Falk is another one, of course, and Josh Rosen. And there's a touchdown by the new quarterback, Prukop. Patient there. Gets the time to find Jalen Brown.
You're going to see motion from Farrell Brown. He's going to come back off the side. The entire defense is going to go right. Farrell Brown, simple corner route. Turns the defender around. There's no help. Jalen Brown's a wideout you don't hear a ton about. But this sophomore out of Phoenix is something they're excited about.
And is Davis going to defend this? They tried a little more aggressively there. Well, that was Vincent White was, in essence, basically the spy there. And you saw he played that one more aggressive.
Well, it's a great job of White just flying out there and saying, all right, I'm not going to take a parallel road. And everybody's saying, all right, I got to force it back inside. The defenses are always built inside out. So if you can get the outside defenders to force Charles Nelson to cut back.
2 out of 3.
No doubt. A great job to go to Prukop, just standing in the pocket. Understand he's going to get hit. He loves man-to-man coverage. Perfect corner route. Completely turns the defensive back around.
Nate Wogan will... Matt Wogan, excuse me, will launch this. This one going to be in the field of play. A shorter kick. And Kelly's knifed down. Well, there's your man, Yogi.
Every single time, this guy you just got to watch. He's one of those plays you turn on the film, and he just jumps off. Fotu Leatu, this young man out of Washington is a special teams stud. Some playing time. You got to win on special teams. They've been doing it for a long time around here. And a lot of their players, they're outside backers, they're backup safeties. This is where they can make some noise.
Coach, in the first quarter, the Aggies were able to score first, and then you guys got going. 1 touchdown in the first quarter, a couple of TDs in quarter number 2. What was the difference for you?
Well, just settling down a little bit. Still way too choppy and inconsistent, and we're not playing very smart. Way too many penalties, and got to get that cleaned up.
Defense had a big takeaway. New look at the 4-3. Your first impressions?
Well, again, we're making a lot of mistakes too. We got beat on the, just a contained mistake on the perimeter on the touchdown, and a couple other assignment things. But just need to settle down and play.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
I'm a superhero. I'm the MVP. I'm a superhero. I'm the MVP. I'm the MVP. I'm the MVP.
UC Davis got the first points. They were also the only points they had in the half. The Ducks end up 25-7 the better at halftime. So, Yogi, we heard Mark Helfrich, and he wasn't happy. If you were assessing the first half, what would you think from the Oregon side?
I would agree with him wholeheartedly. I mean, it's the offensive line. I mean, at times they're playing 4 brand new offensive linemen, 5 redshirt freshmen, new offensive linemen have rotated at some point. So they just got to find the continuity because they try to go so fast in this up-tempo scheme. Got a new quarterback. He's running the operation as the point guard. Yeah, you got wideouts, you got running backs, but if it's not meshing up front, you're going to struggle, and that's what we've seen from them in the first half.
With Davis head coach Ron Gould, at the half you were down 18 because the Ducks scored 18 unanswered after you opened the game with the first score. What was your message at the half?
Well, we shot ourselves in the foot. You know, we had a couple drop balls. We had some miscues on defense and missed tackles. And I told the guys, hey, take a deep breath, settle in. We know we're playing a great team, but we got to go back to being us. And so I want these guys, we talked about from the very beginning, I want guys to play 4 quarters. And so we got another half that we got to get better at, and that's what we're going to do. Come out here in the second half and see how we can improve. Talked about redefining our best. We haven't done that yet. So now it's time for us to go redefine that.
All right, Coach.
You know, as you see a lot of numbers here, Yogi, here's the number that I'm fascinated by in the first half. Again, total number of plays. Davis ran 36, Oregon 38. Only 2 plays difference.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. The one that shocked me is Royce Freeman, only 4 carries.
Yes.
You know, I get it. You know, you got a lot of guys in a long season, but he's the bell cow. I wouldn't be shocked to see him get going on this drive.
All right, so the kick to start the third quarter. Charles Nelson's coming out with it. Had 1 big punt return, and he has 1 big kick return. Just stumbled as he was breaking through 1 pack. Otherwise, he might still be going. Dakota Prukop, his first half, 14 out of 20 throwing. Also 23 net yards rushing.
I thought he settled in really well. You know, I mean, with all the newness around him, as well as probably the anxiety, the excitement for him, dreamt about playing major college football, finally gets a run out here from a packed house. Inconsistent, but I thought he settled in as the first half went on.
And hand the ball to Freeman. So Freeman is wrapped up as he goes right to game 2 a couple of weeks ago. That I thought was really telling. He said somebody asked him about about being around Oregon. Of course, he was here in the spring and now playing. And he throws the out there that's complete just across the 50-yard line to Carrington. But Prukop said one thing he's loved about Oregon football, he said, everyone here is a yes person. That's a life lesson, really. It really is.
Well, the thing here is it's known for the swoosh. Outside of the Pac-12, probably known for some flash, but they got a real process about the way they do things, literally from how they wake up and how they make their bed and how they run block.
Well, that's maybe a touchdown. Yay! Let's see. They're trying to decide. Down just shy of the goal line is Freeman. And, Freeman. Well, Prukop keeps it and goes in. So as Freeman is doubled up and dropped a couple of yards back, Dakota Prukop keeps it for the touchdown. There is no justice in football.
Well, it's vintage. That's a vintage Oregon drive. They start off a zone read run. They come back with a corner route to get you going a little bit. All of a sudden, they get the defense to expand. Big run, touchdown.
Right, so Oregon 2 out of 3 running this play in the first half. This time they flip it the other side and get an easy one. How good is that?
That is the most frustrating thing. I'm frustrated for UC Davis.
And that's quarterback Travis Johnson. Well, let's see. Actually, I'm sorry. That's Justin Hollins with the double number there. And that's a defensive lineman, Justin Hollins, that gets him. Reese's go for 2. Works for the 3rd time. Dakota Prukop ran for 24 touchdowns in his career at Montana State. Tacks one on here in his first game as a Duck.
A really unique player. I mean, this is a guy, he's getting calls from everywhere from Nick Saban, Charlie Strong, Jim Harbaugh, and decided to come here to Oregon for good reason.
And out the back of the end zone. Well, it is changing a little bit the dynamic of college football.
But look at this run right off the back. Get a little pulling guard inside. Nice job by the Ducks run game. The offensive line finally put it together. Rolls Royce gets down about the inch-yard line. Gives a little hang loose sign, and all of a sudden, Dakota Prukop, easy zone read, follows Farrell Brown for a tug. And again, for the third time, they go the other way for the 2-point conversion. It was almost too easy as Justin Hollins went for 2 there. But that was vintage Oregon. That's what they do. And when the offensive line, where it all starts for this team, remember, 10 years in a row, they've led the Pac-10 or Pac-12 in rushing. They got to get that together with this young group. They're missing Tyrell Crosby right now, but a nice job on that drive.
Ben Scott staying in there for Davis, trying to take a shot up top. And that ball is caught. Oh, by far the biggest offensive play of the day for the Aggies.
Oh, and Amodi's with him.
Amodi's grabbing him.
Yeah, he's with him.
Should have been a
time.
flag. And a fistful of jersey.
Doss, he missed all last season. He redshirted.
Luga that gets the carry, and it's a little power look there.
You see him kind of right here in the middle of your screen. He misses on the blitz, but comes right back. They call that retracing in the film room. Coaches, they say, I retraced the path you just went on.
Luga got through. Good hole there, and he's going to the end zone. So a rush touchdown for Mano Luga and UC Davis.
Well, really nice job and by him just hitting the path. They try to run a blitz inside between Reagan and A.J. Hotchkiss. They kind of get crossed up, and all of a sudden, nobody's responsible for that gap. He runs untouched for a touchdown for 20.
Extra point attempt by Matt Blair, freshman from Moraga, California. Did he call the bank?
All right, here's the area that Oregon's responsible on defense for, that alley right there. You can see Johnny Reagan and A.J. Hotchkiss. They're going to run that cross dog blitz. One guy's going to go one way, the other one's supposed to loop around him. It doesn't happen, and all of a sudden, it's 20-yard touchdown, pay dirt for Manu. UC Davis back on the board.
So is that part of the learning process? 4-3, Hotchkiss, first game he's played
not only
in Division I. There's a run back out of the end zone. Well, Nelson, this time he does bust through. Needs one, and then a good angle at the last by UC Davis to prevent a touchdown. And had the look of going the distance. Let's go back to our San Francisco studio now, and Ashley Adamson with a game break.
And Ted, we go back to College Station for this Taco Bell game break. Dramatic comeback by the Bruins late. UCLA down 8 to Texas A&M, under 3 to play. Josh Rosen lobs one up for Kenneth Walker. He hauls it in. It's a 62-yard touchdown to get the Bruins within 2. So, of course, they go for 2. Rosen with a strike to Austin Roberts, and we have a tie ball game. 24-all with less than a minute to play, and Ted, the Bruins are driving.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley. Yeah, UCLA just got the ball back here in the final minute as Griffin gets his first carry of the day for Oregon. Ducks trying to maneuver after the big kick return by Nelson. And look at Griffin.
And the fight that they have, if you watch the drive a couple years on the Pac-12 networks, you know that's what Jim Moore is going to instill. Not surprised by this comeback at all.
Whoops. That's a pickup. Could be a scoop and run. That's a forward pass. All right, the ruling is that ball was flipped forward, thus it is an incomplete forward pass. And this is intentionally done by teams for this very reason. Yep, that is a forward throw. Yep. It's the proper call.
No, you're exactly right. The minute he leaves his hands, right there.
Plays under review, but that's intentionally done by coaches, and you see it in the NFL as well. They're reviewing that, but there's no question that's a forward.
No doubt.
Forward toss.
And it's tough. I get it from the sideline. If you're Ron Gould, you're saying, no way.
Exactly.
But the whole idea, right? You'll see the hands depart and go to the outside.
Pass is confirmed. Second down.
Yes.
Please reset the game clock to 11 minutes and 30 seconds. The clock will start on the snap.
Stephen Strimling, our ref. All of the program spearheaded by David Coleman, and I think it's very clear it's paid off. Prukop's keeping. And look at him just picking his way through that defense, taking it down to the 11.
I've seen that play for years here. Fake throw it to your offhand side, there's any pressure up the field, put your foot in the ground. You've seen that with number 8, Marcus Mariota. Saw it last year with Vernon Adams at times.
Freeman, man, that's a big-time collision. Well, he's been a difference maker here. We talked a lot about it the last couple of years. That's the back that Oregon really hasn't had. It's going to be close to a first down. We'll wait for the mark. And we were saying last year, probably Jonathan Stewart
was fumbled and recovered by the offense. However, on fourth down, only the fumbling player is allowed to recover the ball. The fumble was short of the line to gain. First down, Davis.
Good explanation. Well done again.
See Freeman, a little penetration by UC Davis. Puts his head down. Great collision. Helmet kind of lands right on the ball.
I think that's Zach Jones.
Brady Stevie around the rock.
Yeah, that's Zach Jones, who's the big man from Napa that this year they moved up to be a linebacker at UC Davis. I think he's a real good player for them, and he made the hit.
The explanation of the rule. If Royce Freeman recovered it,
yes,
it's okay. It's going to be Oregon ball first down if he's past the yard marker. So then the spot will come into question. If another player on the Ducks recovered it, like they said in the explanation, then there's an issue.
Yep. Well, Freeman fumbles it, and it looks like Freeman covers it. Let's view it here.
And then it'll be the spot.
Yeah. Freeman absolutely covers it.
That teams are working
the ruling on the field of a fumble and recovery by number 21 is confirmed. The recovery spot is short of the line to gain. It is UC Davis balls on downs. First down.
Now it's a touchdown each in the third quarter. UC Davis backed up, and Scott has gone the distance. Ooh, and there's Swarm. Boy, Oregon's defensive front just crushed there.
You'll see him in the middle of your screen. That's called one-gap defense right there. He gets right between the guard and the center. He's a guy who's played pretty much on the center most of his career.
Justin Hollins was alongside him coming in on that play. Now Davis trying to push themselves out from the shadow of their goal line. Long third. Scott has some time and then just airs one up, and it's going to be incomplete. Amadi was hoping he could position himself for
a nice job down the field by Amadi. The corners here have really impressed me. But the scheme in and of itself, I like how they've altered their fronts.
Colby Wadman, no room to spare there. Charles Nelson, eyes wide, standing in midfield. He's thinking house on this one. He's going to get a shot again. Boy, a low line drive. And Nelson let's see if he's going to get there. He's getting close inside the 10. Just another one. You could see that coming.
Ready to anoint him as the Black Mamba. You know, he's not D'Anthony Thomas just yet, but there's an element when he gets the ball, this whole place stands up, and you could feel the field almost tilts, and all of a sudden he's running downhill. Oh, look out, here we go, and he's making it happen at the end on his own.
He's going to force teams to alter how they punt the ball against Oregon. You can see the 2 times today where he's had pretty good chances to look at the field and see he just takes off.
257 all-purpose yards today, Ted. That's pretty impressive.
All right, first and goal here. Prukop stays in. Freeman runs it down to the 5. Although, did you see Christian McCaffrey last night? Ducks trying to push it in to extend their lead. It was Cameron Hunt that was injured, and Freeman will take it in. So Oregon losing the only experienced member of their offensive line in that previous play with Hunt. Matters not here to Freeman.
They bring in Doug Brenner coming right at you, 57. He's kind of been a guy who's played all over that offensive line. Ian Farrow-Brown just laying a nice pass for 21 to get in the end zone.
Now they're coming back. See if they try to kick one here. They've had 3 successful 2-point plays out of that shift. And now they're going to run this one. And they're putting some stuff on tape, aren't they? What a hit, though. Nate, wow. Zach Jones with a huge hit on Nelson.
Well, Nelson says, all right, let's run this to the left. They've got lead blockers. They've got everybody. And he just beelines it, puts his body on the line. Ooh. That's one of those collisions that you remember.
Isaiah Olave gets a piece of this too. Give him credit to start it. He starts it, and Jones clearly finishes.
I'll tell you what, when Oregon, they continue to do this, there's an element of frustration for opposing special teams coordinators now, because now whether you're Virginia, you can look at the entire schedule.
All right, Wogan hits one short. It's going to bounce out of bounds.
Free kick out of bounds. Davis elects to take the ball at the 35-yard line. First down.
I think people in this state are excited about that one
Yes.
right there, that Nebraska game, man. I mean, that is going to be live, and that's where we're going to find out who this offensive line is. You know, you hope Cameron Hunt's okay, first and foremost. Hope Crosby comes back. Then you'll be at full strength, but
Well,
they'll get tested.
and I'm going to Yogi draws, but I'm going to say that game. Now you're looking a few weeks ahead, but that game at Pullman.
You called that last year here.
After what Washington State did in this stadium in double overtime last year. And Luke Falk's back.
Yeah.
It's kind of the game where he arrived, I thought, was on this field last year. Collins with a stop there. But this is a year, as we touched on this earlier, ever since the Pac became 12 and it split to divisions, the North, it's basically, okay, what day are Stanford and Oregon playing? That's the game that's pretty much going to decide who wins the division. Although last year Oregon won at Stanford, but Stanford still won the division. The point I'm saying this year is clear. It's Washington and Washington State for the first time. We're going to have something to say about this. And there's Lugo with a good bounce and drive it out across the field. Well, we're going to get a timeout taken by Davis. 5 touchdowns for the Ducks.
John Elway's niece. He said he spent some time around him in the Super Bowl run last year.
And Scott, there's a nice connection on third down. Well, he seems to feel the connection to Keelan Dawes.
Basic timing route on a post route. When you get to that 7 step as a wideout, the ball should be on you. Perfect timing, and before the safety gets there, that's a throw that John Elway would be proud of.
Oh, Scott got one out there. There's a defender lurking in the way, but he launched it up over the top, and Joshua Kelly.
And they get a quarterback to come in and commit.
Scott throws it out there on second down, and a little fight going on there, and a flag's going to come in.
UC Davis
Pass
staff.
interference. Defense number 1. Ball be placed in the spot of the foul. First down.
He calls back the staff, and he says, well, let's take a look at his senior film. And they say, well, really good, but we already have a quarterback. We're full for our allotment. So he's kind of, Tim Prukop was kind of saying, hey, take a look at my son. If you want him, you have him. UC Davis said, we don't have any room. It was a little too late in terms of his playing ability for them. He goes to Montana State, balls out. When he plays against them, goes absolutely crazy from a yardage standpoint. This young man threw for over 300, ran for over 100, wasn't even playing in the third quarter, and now here they are today. Playing one another, the alum from UC Davis, his dad watching in the stands, Dakota's on the sideline.
Luga winds up getting a yard. So here's Tim Prukop as an Aggie.
He was awesome, man. We had a chance.
What do you think he's wearing today? You think he's wearing an Aggie shirt, or is he wearing a Duck shirt?
I think he's going Ducks for sure. But he said after the game where Dakota went absolutely off a couple of years ago against UC Davis, he was with a bunch of his buddies, and he threw for 4 touchdowns, ran for 2, 77-37 win. He said he just had a laugh and a chuckle. But he's so excited to come here and watch him go through this process. He said his entire life he wanted to play on the biggest stages. He loves to watch him compete, and he's getting a great opportunity all season long as he leads one of the premier teams in the country.
All right, second down. There's another drop. And what we're seeing, we saw it with Adams here last year. You're seeing it all around, isn't it? A change in the dynamic of football because these players who do get degrees are basically being able to take advantage of a rule that allows them a year to choose where they want to play.
And you know,
but it destroys the model of saying I'm going to recruit a high school quarterback and develop him and have him play 2-3 years for me instead of doing the back end one and done. Timeout. All right, let's see what's. He's all Ducks. He's a dad today. He's not an Aggie alum today. He's a dad.
Oh, he's excited. I mean, we had a chance to connect this week, and remember, he's a guy who coached major college football. His father, Dakota's grandfather, was at SC. So they were always SC fans. Dakota was actually born the day of him coaching, his dad coaching at USC on a game day on a Saturday. He's there next to his wife as well, Dakota's mom. And this guy's been around the game his entire life. Dakota was going to play linebacker. Was going to be just like his father, made the transition to the quarterback position. And I love the rule, Ted, to follow up on what you said, the fifth-year graduate rule. I think it's great if you get your degree.
Well, no, that's the whole point of this.
Right.
The whole point, you can't preach the exercise of being a student athlete and then hold it against someone when they get a degree.
Yeah.
My only question to you, now you coach for a while, is that you work with young quarterbacks all the time. The model's changing, and so how is the game going to adjust to that in college, where the model's supposed to be recruit a kid, develop a kid, have a backup, etc., as opposed to no continuity when you go one and done, as Oregon is now doing for the second.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It's hard. I mean, I think it's a two-way street. A lot of times these kids, when they get recruited, and we've seen it here, Jake Rodriguez, Morgan Mahaly, Travis Johnson now, these big recruits that come up and that don't necessarily pan out at the time, and they decide to leave. Because we've seen Jameis Winston, we've seen Johnny Manziel win the Heisman as redshirt freshman. So the expectation to play early is there. And now couple it with these offenses that aren't taking years to learn, like a Stanford offense or a USC offense. You can be a one-and-done guy and come in and master a system like the Dakota Prukop has tried this year and Vernon Adams did a year ago.
Look at Luga barreling in, and that's going to be a first down run. Right, just inside the 20. And Scott buying time. Crowd wanted a hold there, and instead Scott finds Luga for a first down. The crowd thought.
You'll see it at the bottom of your screen.
Right there. Watch Mondu. Yeah.
I think they got it.
That's a takedown. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's what he usually gets.
Davis took advantage. Got a 6-yard gain on first down. Now Luga runs it, and Luga's going to have a first and goal for the end.
Third down, critical downs and distances.
And Luga tries to cut back, diving short to the one quarter. Now we're starting to see a little bit more of Manu Samoa Luga.
Well, you see Alex Haynes, their left guard. He's pulling right in front of you. Does a nice job. Manu cuts back.
Flags flying all over the place as that ball was snapped.
Illegal substitution, number 11 of the defense. Offside, number 11 of the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Second down.
Into the Watson Stadium. Scott under center. Luga plows it, and Luga's in. So the Aggies get their second touchdown of the third quarter.
They're feeding him. 10 carries now in the second half. 45 yards in the tug there. Saw the earlier one off the left side.
All right, extra point kick through there by UC Davis. Again, we'll be at the Rose Bowl next Saturday, part of our big Saturday on Pac-12 Network. Next week, we'll have UCLA and UNLV. There'll be a 5 p.m. at the Rose Bowl. Well, Nelson's on his way to a McCaffrey-like return day today, isn't he? Whoops. But then he got careless, and guess what? UC Davis is going to have a chance to make this one interesting going to the fourth quarter.
Another
They've got the
there.
ball. That's the second turnover by Charles Nelson. So yards and some big plays, but 2 costly mistakes.
Well, we're going to find out how resilient Oregon
just a
is.
rip. That's a straight rip there by Ryan Parenthood. Well, it's with the story before, but
5-yard penalty. First down.
Okay. First and 15. Oh, wow. All over that play is Dye. There was going to be a pitch back and then a deep throw to Doss. That was the hope for Davis, but Troy Dye broke it up.
The athleticism of Troy Dye playing on the line of scrimmage, which is not common for him. Look at him just racing around the edge. There is zero chance right there.
And that's the best UC Davis lineman, Christian Schneider, and Troy Dye just ran right around him.
And he's got a guy who they say he's got NFL potential, the one the scouts are all over. 10 tackles, 4.5 TFLs for the opener for the true freshman.
So a long second now. All right, Davis gets some yardage back. Cannon Doss split way to the top. Scott gets the snap in time. Does throw between the hashes, and that's held for a first down.
Allow Ben Scott put his third step into the ground. It's simple. The 7th step by Doss. Ball is on him in front of the receiver. Great coverage by Amadi.
Mack and Davis finish. Luga. Luga's going to punch it down to about the 11. They won't get the playoff in time, but UC Davis won the third quarter, and they have a chance to start the fourth quarter and make this one much more interesting. Riders UC Davis, second down from the 11. Scott. And that's going to be out of the end zone.
Single coverage at the very top of your screen.
And that's out of bounds.
Gould wanted a pass interference. Again, just miscommunication up front. Johnny Reagan untouched into the lap.
Player, freshman from Moraga, California. And the kick is no.
Getting after the kicker. Like they say, it's all about the details here in Eugene.
Fourth quarter, and Oregon just dodged one there. UC Davis had a chance, in the best case scenario, to make it a 10-point game. And instead, a partially blocked field goal that carried off the crossbar, and suddenly UC Davis comes away with nothing.
Again, I mean, really, you look at this offense in the third quarter, 12 plays for 50 yards. You know, they haven't done much outside of a couple explosive plays.
And something else that has happened is a quick throw to Freeman there. We thought both teams today might use more than one quarterback. Neither team has.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, huge story in Oregon, not only Dakota Prukop, but Justin Herbert, the backup, winning the job as a true freshman, local out of Eugene, Sheldon High School right down the road.
Yeah, much more heralded. Travis Johnson is right now running number 4 on their depth chart. Jeff Locke and Taylor Ali, who played last year for them. Locke played quite a bit, of course, are not in the picture as quarterbacks. Here's Johnny Munt running. And he got tripped by the heels, or he might have gone.
A really nice job by Prukop. Standing in the pocket. They bring the house. His man-to-man coverage finds his buddy, his roommate, as you mentioned. Now they piggyback.
Flag down as Freeman turns it down inside the 40.
Offense number 79, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Yogi, back to you in Eugene.
All right, Ashley, here's Prukop taking a deep shot to Carrington. He's got him. And that's 6 for Oregon. Set up well by the Ducks. Prukop, 55 yards to Carrington.
All right, you'll see at the bottom of your screen. Okay, now watch. All the flow of this offense is going to go to your left. And Darren Carrington is going to work his route outside, and it's not even close. Everybody goes to that sideline. Dakota Prukop pulls up just like he did earlier in the ball game. And just like we've seen so many quarterbacks on this field, when they roll to their opposite of their throwing hand, throw back across their body for a post for a touchdown. Over 100 yards goes Mr. Carrington.
And the third touchdown pass thrown by Prukop. In the Pac-12 Conference, here's our Coors Light Cold Hard Fact. And Mark Helfrich has surpassed that average, which is extraordinary when you think of what Chip Kelly started here. And Mark Helfrich has sustained. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's ridiculously impressive. Their tempo, how they get moving, the amount of points they put on the board, the pressure they put on teams offensively.
And the kickoff's going to sail out the end zone. All right, I have a cold hard fact number 2.
Go for it.
Happy birthday to Ryan McGrady, who is the brains of our operation, one of the smartest football people I know. Right after the touchback, 25-yard line for Davis. Ben Scott on the roll. And a good throw and a completed pass, just short of the stick. There's a first down run by Luga. We're going to punch that out.
Back in the mix. They're getting not huge chunks, but they're getting nice elements of yardage.
A flat throw out here to Priest. Wesley Priest. And they'll get him 4 yards on first down.
You know, another tackle, Jonah Moy. He's another JC transfer. Him and A.J. Hotchkiss, who's starting at the middle linebacker, both came from Riverside Community College. This system, you need backers that can run. You need guys that can plug because you're having so many diverse offenses in the Pac-12. You see Oregon now rotating a bunch of backers in because they got to get some experience for these guys because it is such a long season.
Very tighter set here for UC Davis. Offset fullback, running Lugo up. Oregon just smothered it. Just smothered it.
I mean, I'm not going to compare those two just yet, but he's got that length to him. You know, Deion Jordan is a crazy athlete coming off the edge, but Jokes, he's made plays all afternoon long. And really, him and Justin Hollins, you like them at the rush end for Oregon in this Brady Hoke one-gap scheme where they just got to put their hands back, use that speed, and win off the edge.
Right, third down. UC Davis needs to play here. 3rd and 7. Oregon brings extra people, and Scott threw one out of bounds. That was a play that had no chance to be a first down. Malik Lovett. Defensive back. Had pretty good promise here, but he's back now to return after Nelson's second fumble of the game. He'll just let this one sail over his head and skip into the end zone for the Oregon touchback. One of the things that Prukop talked about, and I didn't know this about here, is that there's such demand to detail in the Oregon football life. One of the things Mark Helfrich demands, the players make their bed every morning. I thought that was great.
It's impressive.
Make your bed every morning. I mean, you know, my mom did that. It was a great thing. You don't expect to hear that about college football programs. Nice juggle and catch. Good little flare out by Johnny Munt. Munt's having a nice second half.
Well, there's a whole process to how not only you make one-handed grabs and the focus that's necessary to do that, but really to be in this program. You know, when they wake up in the morning, they say they make their bed, as you referenced. They touch the O outside the stadium twice, once to remember the past, once to say, hey, we represent the future. Then they walk in and they have a test where they can do it on their app where they say, I slept well last night, this is how my energy feels, this is what my body feels like. And then this new Marcus Mariota Performance Center that handles all of that. And Coach Helfrich took us through that yesterday and really talked about the details that are necessary. And I think so often when we look at his program, again, we see the swoosh, we see the flash, but there's some real discipline that I think he's orchestrated within this program since becoming the head coach.
It's discipline and, of course, that advanced look at nutrition, at sleep, at health. That was Chip Kelly instituted that here, and he has taken that with him into the NFL. As you take a look here at this brand new Sports Performance Center.
I mean, it's silly. When you walk in, I mean, we were there yesterday, you just kind of said, whoa. I can't believe from the touch screens to the variety of changes on those screens. I mean, it really is impressive. They're taking care of student athletes.
Look at this, loading up again for Carrington. He's got him just off the tips. Well, that's why you said Darren Carrington flirted with the idea of leaving school, coming back with Braylon Addison moving on. These plays are for him this year.
Well, no doubt. I mean, remember last year he didn't play in the first 6 games. You know, got in a little bit of trouble, came back, touchdown in 7 of his last 9 games. I mean, he's got the ability to be an all Pac-12, all-American type wideout.
That's intended for Charles Nelson. That's Nick Farron. No, that's not Nick Farrenbach. That's Roland Ocansey that got up in the path there for UC Davis. Underneath throw, but smothered Jalen Brown.
Prukop is majoring in nonprofit management in grad school, you guys. So not only has he thrown through for 3 TDs through the air and run for another today, he's getting it done at a very high level in class as well.
Who played in the bowl game for Oregon last year. Jeff Lockie there wearing that little vest over his jersey. Helping signal in plays. Ooh, Olave caught that high bounce and he got
Wait to watch the first quarter and a half, because if they get a couple scores, they'll have an opportunity to knock off the nation's top-ranked team.
All right, on the run outside, Luga gets a couple. Luga going to run it again to the left side, and Luga's got first down. Good spin outside the 25. It's like there's more good first, opening day matchups in college football that I can remember in a long time.
We go all weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, you got games tomorrow, you got games Monday night.
We're always going to have games like this where UC Davis is obviously going to fund its athletic program by playing this game. We understand that. But there are enough really significant matchups. A nice cutback to the field by Luga. So Luga's piling up.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit number 47, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Manu on the flag for the Ducks. Down, boom. Yep.
He's the 3 technique. That means he's a defensive tackle on the offensive guard. So he not only rushed, but then had to turn around and sprint down there. Whether it was the 3 targeting calls against Oregon State or against Minnesota in the Oregon State game on Thursday night, or that play, I mean, it's fine.
Scott launches one out of bounds. Talking, we had one on our network here in Cal last year that was missed. The targeting call was missed by the field crew, and there was no ability to correct it. Wow, that's a nice catch.
It's a cover 2 hole shot, meaning there's only one spot between the corner and the safety to put it. It's put exactly there. Malik Lovett puts his hand on the ball, gets a little tip. Great concentration.
And Scott with a give, and that's going to be Luga to the end zone and in. Touchdown.
That was a walk. You know, that to me, when they get back and watch the film on that last snap, that's got to be a play where you got to be a little firmer at the point of attack.
Yeah, and you saw I think Brady Hoke was thinking exactly what you just said. Saw the look on his face, his demeanor. They're deciding if Luga's arm may have been down here. Let's see if that arm is down.
Can drive though for all those young running backs. Full man wins.
Now his arm can go down. The elbow's the one. If the elbow hits, he's down.
Exactly.
Your forearm can touch, and you're still live. Let's see where the elbow is. The elbow down? Let's see how they parse that.
The runner was down with his elbow down and the ball at the half-yard line. It will be second down.
And Luga is going to take it in there. So one reload by UC Davis, and now Luga does get officially his 3rd touchdown.
See the D-line? They're a little high. See their pads just kind of get popped right up.
They stood up, exactly. As opposed to the normal goal line sets where everything is down.
That's right.
On the ground.
No, it's the second team. Elijah George is in there, the redshirt junior. But talking to Brady Hoke, that's been a big point of emphasis of getting these guys to play that one-gap scheme.
There's a kick by Blair for point, which is good. They had scored on that possession early in the 4th. So here's Vernon Adams in his first game here last year against Eastern Washington.
It was dynamic. We saw it coming out. He was excited first drive of the game, and they go all the way down. And all of a sudden, it's his former team in Eastern Washington back and forth and back and forth. And unfortunately for him, got banged up in that game. They played Michigan State the next week. His finger hurt. Couldn't make all the throws that he liked to. And kind of know how that season went with him up and down.
And Charles Nelson is back on the kickoff here for Oregon and lets that one go out of bounds. So the Ducks should take the ball at 35. Dakota Prukop today, 271, 3 thrown, 1 run. When he played UC Davis at Montana State 2 years ago, he threw 4 and ran 2.
You know, the biggest difference there is kind of hidden from the numbers. You know, to me, it's Tyler Johnson, Matt Pearson, and Matt Haggerty, 3 offensive linemen have left for Oregon.
No, that's right.
Pretty good game by Dakota Prukop, considering.
All right, Oregon has elected here a re-kick instead of taking the ball at 35.
Get those reps.
Well, we guess Charles Nelson's okay. They're saying, Charles, don't drop it, break another one. And UC Davis not going to give Nelson that chance. They hit it along the ground and force the cover. That works out pretty well for UC Davis. Well, it's the weaponry that Charles Nelson gives you. Of course, you don't want this to happen, but the game-breaking ability he shows is a huge plus.
Explosive, you know, type of player. But these are the things that sometimes when you want to make plays so badly, you can try a little too hard.
There you can see he got stood up and the ball ripped out on the second. The muffed punt was on the very first possession of the game by UC Davis, and it ended up having a UC Davis touchdown out of it. There you see the return game's been so all-purpose yards are a little deceiving. It's his return yardage that's the story.
I'll tell you what I love about his game today and what he's done, over 200 total yards of offense, or when the ball's in his hands, those 2 miscues, that's going to set a standard for this team when they go back to practice. Being one of those leaders, one of those guys that holds himself to an excellent standard to perform week in and week out, he's going to go back with a unique focus. And I think that's what I take away from this game. They're going to have to do that across the board with this team starting up front, and then, of course, with those turnovers.
Punt return mistake is the worst turnover in football. There's no turnover affects field position like that. Cobb's going to keep it and get the first down. He went head first there. Of course, that prevents the defense from subbing.
That's right.
And racing up there, that's Ryan Parento.
Both have worked. I mean, look at all the touchdown drives for Oregon today. Ridiculously fast. So much so, Ted, 5 of them were under 90 seconds. But here's a great example. Okay, they're not going to do it here. But after they get an explosive play, 10-yard, 15-yard gain, they want to get up, line up, and have the next play executed so well. Bo Chapman up here in the booth did some work. On any explosive play, the next snap, they average 2.2 yards per play. That is not winning Oregon football.
That's right.
Usually they go explosive, 5-yard touchdown run.
Nice involvement there for Casey Eugenio. Walk on here. Now Brooks James, and he's healed from behind just by the heels tripped up.
Huge recruit coming out of Florida. Former wide receiver. How about the balance? Keep his legs moving. And what's so great about him, and you look at Coach Gary Campbell, the running back coach, that entire room, the standard has always been risen. Right? They've done it 10 straight years. They've led the Pac-10 or Pac-12 in rushing. They got Royce Freeman, Heisman candidate. We've seen Benoit, Tony Brooks James, Taj Griffin. We haven't even talked about him. Another gifted running back. I mean, it's what they do here in Eugene.
No shifting here after all the 2-point tries earlier today. This one's straightforward. And Oregon now at a 50th point, because you stop and think about the expectation of Oregon football. Last year was the first time since 2007 they didn't win 10 games in a year. All right, so the expectation. And, you know, the way I look at this, you don't control the other teams you're playing against. You only do that 1 week. There's only 1 week where Oregon can impact Washington State or Washington. And my point is those programs have now gotten themselves together. They're together. And that's where I think it's fascinating this year, because you have 4 teams that you can logically say are in the mix in the North, which we haven't had.
No, you're right. And then you've got the other 2, Cal specifically, that are going to scare you with Davis Webb, because they can put points on the board. But no, you're right. And they've all built it the right way. You know, you look at all of them. They play physical on defense. What Washington State did a year ago, what UW did earlier today, and obviously all of last year, it is not going to be a walk for anybody in the North, specifically Oregon.
So you look at them, and obviously we all tend to look at November. 3 out of the last 4 on the road. That's, to me, that's your test. And by that point, you know, does Utah and Oregon State, have they developed their first-year quarterbacks to the point where they're playing at a high level in November?
No doubt. And everyone I know in this arena loves the Washington game.
Yeah.
You know, UW, they get them here.
Course, yeah.
It is going to be huge. And I still think, and they feel it too, and you talk to the players, you talk to the staff, they've gotten rubbed a little bit the wrong way in terms of people saying, oh, Oregon's down. Now, they still have the most skilled players, I think, the deepest at every position in the entire Pac-12 conference. But they definitely, after watching today, need to shore it up front, or they're going to have some problems. 9-on-7 as much as you want, but until you're going as fast as Oregon's trying to go on offense and communicating as efficiently as they need to on offense, with Jake Hansen at the center, a redshirt freshman. You look at Shane Lemieux, their left guard, redshirt freshman. Today we saw Brady Aiello, redshirt freshman, Calvin Throckmorton, redshirt freshman at right tackle, and Cameron Hunt. You know, hopefully it wasn't anything serious, but he left earlier in the game. He's the only senior. He's the old guy there. I mean,
Justin Herbert's going to get in the game, it appears.
And I think he's going to have a bright future behind this young offensive line. And this is a guy that kind of came out of nowhere today. Under-recruited, broke his leg as a junior, randomly. His brother is a wideout at Montana State.
That's crazy.
Where Dakota Prukop came from.
Brought Prukop into their home, their family home, as Davis would keep the ball. The first down gain there.
You know, when you watch him on film, you know, when I was at Pitt, I hosted a young quarterback named Joe Flacco. came to Pitt, ended up transferring to Delaware. Now, obviously, he's been an all-pro.
Do they blame you for that?
No, they don't. But I look at him coming out of high school, and not necessarily as gifted yet as a passer, but he's got those tools. He's got the length. Mechanically, he's really sound. I think he's going to be a special player here. And what I love most about him, Ted, is they talk about how he learns. They say he can just process this game and this system so fast. And he wasn't here in spring. He wasn't here in summer. He showed up in camp, and all of a sudden, he figured it out and won the job.
So he's as fast as Mariota. I have to say one thing, because I know Yogi appreciates this in our first game together, that we've talked about UC Davis. Well, one more time, great football heritage. Also, 135 years with the Department of Viticulture and Enology. Most of the great winemakers in Northern California, Napa and Sonoma County, and I know how much you love this.
Yeah. Let's go.
Got their education at UC Davis. So I want to say thank you to UC Davis for contributing so much to the importance of my life. Thank you.
We appreciate that. And I'll tell you what.
A great donor, by the way, Robert Mondavi. One of the big donors to the UC Davis department. It's 135 years young.
And they're changing things in this program. And they chartered a flight here. That doesn't happen to a lot of teams in the Big Sky Conference. So UC Davis in general, they're making moves. I think Ron Gould is the right fit, especially when you watch them compete today. That was an impressive job. I think they'll be able to make some noise when they get into conference play, because they did not lay down today by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, that's good. That's the takeaway. And, of course, the other one, when you're in the UC Davis position today, is you want to make sure you don't lose guys. It's the first game of the year. They want to make sure they don't lose too many people playing in a game where they clearly are. They're just outnumbered. 85 scholarships to 63.
And you hope they're all right. I mean, Kevin Gavigan, he just left. Jared Harrell, he got banged up a little bit. So to your point, hopefully they can get back healthy and get going next week.
In the UC system, it is a very well-regarded academic school. Outstanding school in the UC system.
Just to try to get Herbert some snaps. Just get him his first live snap.
And that's a great point, because you figure now next week they have Virginia here, which is an ACC school, and then the trip to Nebraska may be a little more difficult to get.
Yeah, and he's going to play. You know, we talked to the coaching staff, said, all right, is Jeff Locke or Taylor Alley going to be kind of that emergency guy? Still try to redshirt Herbert? And said, no, we're going to try to play him. You know, Terry Wilson, he's going to redshirt. At least that's the plan as of now. Which to me just speaks to how advanced he must be for you to burn a redshirt as the backup quarterback. And you've got some upperclassmen that can play, as you see Jeff Locke.
Jeff Locke again wearing that vest.
I liked what they're doing on the defensive front. I thought they got after it in the 4-3-1 gap scheme with Brady Hoke. Clearly they made some mistakes. They got to shore up. The secondary I thought was improved. But they've had trouble, obviously, at the quarterback position over the years. Marcus Mariota, and he's not just a guy you replace. Oh, by the way, he's got an entire facility named after him. One of the top quarterbacks in the history of the game. But Locke came in. He's kind of the front runner last year. And Vernon Adams came in training camp and won that job. We saw Taylor Alley's a few times last year.
And it is the number one question around Oregon football the last couple of years. Everybody around the country talks about it, is that very thing. You've had Vernon Adams come in last year. Crew Cup this year, 2 years in a row, where you're going for the one-year man to fill the gap. Right. In the hopes of being able to find that young guy. Maybe it is Herbert now that they can develop to be a 2 or 3 year starter.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier about, you know, guys wanting to play really early, and they missed out on some guys that did want to play really early, and those guys have subsequently transferred to other schools. You know, we've seen that around the country where it hasn't worked out. It's been fun to watch as they moved on in their career, whether it's Morgan Mahalik, he moves on and he's starting at Towson now. It'll be fun to see what Travis Johnson does. I hope he stays. He's only a redshirt freshman. He's still really young. But when you miss in recruiting, you've got to make those answers. And it wasn't as though it's just Oregon. Nick Saban's calling him, right? Charlie Strong's calling him. Florida State's calling. Every team in the country is going after him. So I think they get misaligned a little bit. And it's like, oh, they just want another quick fix they can't develop. No, they wanted a player that can make their team better. I think he's going to do it. They got to get better on the offensive line first.
All right, so with 17 seconds left, here comes Justin Herbert. You touched on it. They say amazingly what a quick study he's been in just several months here. Compared a lot to Mariota in that regard. How quickly he picked up the offense. He's going to get one snap, one handoff, and that will be his baptism
You know what's impressive is that he read the read right, and he gave it. And that's me in my first
Good
name. I'm
job.
keeping that one.
Way to go, Coach Roth.
I think he forgot his mouthpiece, though, sticking out of the back of his helmet.
All right, Ducks offense flies again, 53. Royce Freeman wasn't as involved. He had one big run today, but not as involved as he's been in the past. Oregon depth. Oregon puts 53 up.
Well, look, it wasn't impressive. It was efficient. They get to go back to work. I think it's one of the greatest things that could happen to a program. You get a big, comforting win. Now go back to the drawing board, fellas. This is the truth. Offensive line, we got to get better. Defense, let's shore it up.